I made a version of chess where you don't have to wait to take your turn. The pieces move across the board in real time, each with their own hitboxes. If the front of your piece hits any part of their piece, they get destroyed. If you both hit each other head on, you both get destroyed. If a piece isn't moving, it's completely harmless. Each move costs 1 mana regardless of what piece it is or where they're going. You and your friend both start with 4 mana and slowly regain it over time, so you could potentially have like 10 pieces all moving at once. Although you can't move them again until they get to the tile you sent them to. This creates some weird situations where you kinda have to predict what your opponent is doing as they're doing it. If you see them sending their queen straight forward, you don't really have the luxury of sitting around pontificating on what your best maneuver is. Should I go with the Sicilian defense or the meat lover's gambit? Nah, you just kinda have to go with your gut. That's not to say you can't plan ahead. In fact, the old school openings and strategies are still pretty useful here, but unlike in normal chess, it's not all just about planning ahead. You've also got to be able to think on your feet. Like, if you're going to commit to moving your rook across the entire board, it's only going to take 1 mana just like any other move, so in that regard, it's efficient. You're covering a lot of ground with just a little mana, but you're totally committing that rook to that spot. So you're giving your opponent plenty of time to come up with a defensive play as the rook moves over there. On the other hand, you could inch the rook forward a couple tiles at a time, burning through lots of mana, but also giving yourself plenty of opportunities to switch up the strategy in reaction to your opponent's moves. It's like, would you rather be patient and bring in the groceries 2 bags at a time like a sensible person, or would you rather take in all 9 bags at once and inevitably spill the milk all over your carpet like the fucking caveman that you are? Now, you might think you'd choose the more sensible option, the safer option. But when push comes to shove, the devil might whisper a little something in your ear and have you cleaning up dairy stains for the next 30 minutes. And that's basically mana management. Every piece has the same move speed, except for attacking pawns. Pawns move forward harmlessly at the normal move speed, but attack quickly diagonally. If they capture a piece during that fast diagonal attack, they move to that new position just like normal chess. But if they miss, they slowly return to their original position. Because of this, pawns make for great interceptors. Breaking through an opponent's pawn structure becomes one of the most difficult and most important aspects of the game. And attacking with your pawns, due to that increased attack speed, can really decimate an opponent's defenses if they're not careful. Sometimes you just see the perfect opportunity for a single pawn to go on a demolition spree, and if your opponent's all out of mana or is distracted, there's really nothing they can do to stop it. If you do it right, you can quickly get your pawn all the way to the back rank for a speedy queen promotion. Now, if moving your pawns sounds strong, wait until you hear about sacrificing your pawns. This is one of those mechanics that makes hyper chess a little bit different than traditional chess. You can capture your own pieces. Sometimes it happens on purpose, most of the time it happens on accident. If you want to, you can even send your queen straight to your opponent's back rank right as the match starts, destroying your own pawn immediately and giving your friend a mild heart attack. You even get a Steam achievement if you manage to do that and still win the game. Surely you've heard of the Intercontinental Ballistic Missile Gambit, no? Now, while pawns are tricky, knights are fucking scary, man. In earlier versions of the game, knights didn't have this slow jumping animation you see here. Instead, they just instantly launch in the air and come down a few seconds later. You could pretty much move them again right after they landed. This was so broken. In every playtest, knights were clearly the strongest piece on the board, even stronger than the queen. You just couldn't kill them. They'd always be in the air. Matches would quickly turn into knight whack-a-mole as players flung these guys at each other. There were whole games during the playtests where the knights and kings were the only pieces that moved, because every other piece was just totally obsolete compared to the flying knight of doom. It was total chaos and not at all what the game was supposed to play like. Giving them this slow jumping animation gave players time to actually react to the knights instead of just fearing for their lives. In the current version, knights are still strong. Hell, they're probably stronger than they are in normal chess, but they're not monsters like they used to be. The queen still takes her rightful place as the strongest piece on the board. She is just so fun to fight with. In normal chess, the queen is obviously the best at checkmates, but she still needs backup. In Hyper Chess, the queen's backup is very much optional. If you want to spend 90% of your mana just moving the queen, that's not a terrible strategy. If you know how to use her, a rogue queen can fight off hordes of pieces all on her own. She's so much fun that I even made an alternate game mode where players only have 3 pieces each. 1 king and 2 queens. There's also a few other game modes like this less chaotic SWAT mode and a more chaotic randomization mode. If you want to play the game for yourself, Hyper Chess is on Steam right now. You can play online or you can play locally. There's no single player mode right now, so you may need to grab a friend or make a friend through the online server browser. It's only $3 and it's probably on sale at the time you're watching this video. And hey, if you try it out and end up hating it, just refund it. You won't hurt my feelings. Alright, that's it from me. See you on the board, Grandmaster.